The arrival. The sky was quiet above the Nevada desert. Only the wind moved across the dry land, carrying dust and heat. Then, without warning, the silence broke. A long black shape tore through the clouds, flames burning around it. The alien ship was crashing fast, no control, no signal, no warning. It hit the ground with a loud echoing sound, shaking the earth for miles. People saw the smoke from nearby towns. News helicopters came first, followed by the military. No one knew what it was. Some thought it was a bomb. Others thought it was the start of another war, but only one man got a special call. Dr. Adrian Wells, a former military scientist, lived alone in the desert. After the alien war ended 2 years ago, he left the army. People said he went crazy. Now he worked with old machines, studying alien tech in peace. His phone buzzed once. A message from a secret government channel. Package inbound. Top priority. Your eyes only. He sighed, looking at the desert from his broken window. Not again, he muttered. Hours later, a black government van arrived outside Adrian's lab. 2 agents stepped out and carried a metal box the size of a coffin. Inside was a strange-looking body, an alien female unconscious hooked to machines. Her skin was pale blue, her hair silver like wires. Strange black lines were carved into her arms and neck, glowing faintly. She's all yours, one agent said, smirking. Your very own alien bride. They laughed as they left. Adrian didn't. He looked down at the broken being inside the box. Her eyes were closed. Her chest moved slowly. She was alive, but barely. What the hell did they do to you? He whispered. He worked on her for 3 days, cleaning her wounds, checking her brain activity, trying to understand the symbols on her skin. She didn't move, didn't speak. She just lay there breathing, silent like death. Neighbors heard about it. They mocked him. Adrian's gone full crazy, living with an alien now? Maybe he's in love. She's got those shiny eyes, right? He ignored them. He wasn't doing this for fame or curiosity. Deep inside, he felt something was wrong. Something big. The war was over, yes. But this felt like a leftover piece of something unfinished. On the 4th night, she opened her eyes. Adrian was asleep at his desk when he heard a quiet sound. A whisper. He turned and saw her sitting up slowly, eyes glowing softly in the dark. She looked around the room like a lost child, confused, afraid. He stood carefully. You're safe, he said gently. Do you understand me? She tilted her head. Her lips moved, trying to speak. No sound came. It's okay. Take your time. She touched her chest, then her neck as if searching for something. Then she looked at him deeply, directly, like she was looking through him. Thora, she said in a broken voice. The word meant nothing to Adrian, but the way she said it gave him chills. Then she fainted again. Days passed. She began to walk slowly. Her body was strong, but her mind seemed lost. She didn't know who she was, didn't remember where she came from. Adrian tried to talk to her every day, using pictures and simple words. She started to learn, started to respond. Like a machine rebooting, slowly waking up. One day, she picked up a metal tool and pointed to it. Fix? He smiled. Yes, that's for fixing things, she repeated. Fix? And looked proud. He nodded. Good. Very good. He started calling her Nova, short for no name, value unknown. It was a joke at first, but she seemed to like it. As time passed, Nova learned to cook simple food, repair wires, and understand human emotions. Anger, sadness, joy. Adrian noticed something strange. Whenever she touched certain machines from the old alien war, they activated without power. Symbols on her skin glowed brighter. One night, Adrian tested something. He brought her to an ancient ruin buried in the desert, a place where humans had once fought aliens. When she stepped close, the machines woke up. Lights turned on. Doors opened. Nova's eyes turned bright white, She fell to her knees, whispering a word again and again. Ketval. Ketval. Adrian didn't know what it meant, but he knew this. She wasn't just a soldier. She was a key. That night, Nova stood by the window while Adrian slept. She watched the stars, her glowing eyes full of thought. Then, in a low voice, she whispered, a name. It wasn't Adrian's name, and it wasn't hers. They're coming, she said. And somewhere deep in space, something heard her. The training begins. The desert was silent again. But something had changed. Nova no longer just existed. She moved with purpose, even if she didn't know why. Her steps were stronger. Her voice, though soft and unsure, carried a strange tone, like it had once given orders on battlefields far from Earth. Adrian watched her closely every day. He saw the way she touched machines, the way she listened to sounds the human ear couldn't hear. Something inside her was awakening, slowly, like a buried weapon remembering what it was made for. But her mind was still broken. Her past was a shattered mirror. She would freeze at loud noises. Sometimes she panicked when she saw her own reflection. And some nights, she screamed in a voice that didn't sound like hers. One morning, Adrian took her outside. He had built a training yard. Next to his lab, wooden dummies, climbing ropes, and even an old drone he had reprogrammed for target practice. What is this? Nova asked, her English now clearer. Training ground, Adrian said. You're fast, strong, but your mind needs to catch up with your body. She looked confused. Why? Because something's coming. I don't know what, but I saw it in your eyes that night. You know it too. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. Will I fight? She asked. He looked at her. You'll choose, but you need to be ready if the choice comes. And so the training began. At first she struggled. She couldn't hit targets. She didn't understand human weapons. She flinched when things exploded. But her body learned fast. Her muscles reacted before her mind did. After a few weeks, she could crush metal with her bare hands, jump twice as high as a normal human, and dodge bullets from the drone. But Adrian didn't just teach her to fight. He taught her patience, control, and kindness. He showed her old human movies, stories of heroes, rebels, sacrifices. She liked one film where a lone samurai protected a village. He had no home, she said, but he stayed and fought. He found a purpose, Adrian replied. Nova nodded. I want purpose. As weeks passed, Nova began to speak more, sometimes in English, sometimes in her own strange language. Adrian recorded her words, trying to translate them. One night, while she was asleep, Adrian studied a scan of her blood again. And this time, he saw something he had missed before. Hidden deep inside her DNA was a second genetic code, one that didn't match her species, but matched a human soldier who had died during the First Contact War. His name was Major Elias Kane, and he had been declared missing, never found. Adrian stared at the screen. They used human DNA to create her? He suddenly remembered her words from earlier. I want purpose. Was that purpose planted inside her, or did she grow it on her own? Nova woke up the next morning sweating, her eyes wide. Dreams again? Adrian asked. She nodded. Not dream, memory. What did you see? Her voice trembled. A city, burned, a starship, blocking the sun. I saw their faces. They were like me, but darker, cruel. One of them called me Ketval. It means final echo. Adrian frowned. Final? Echo of what? Nova looked him in the eyes. A war that never ended. Later that day, Nova stood in front of a mirror. She stared at her reflection, tracing the black lines on her skin. They pulsed as if reacting to her thoughts. She whispered a command in her language. The lines lit up. Holograms appeared around her, showing alien symbols, data streams, and a star map. Adrian rushed in. What did you do? I remembered the code, Nova said. This was locked inside me, only I can open it. The star map zoomed in. A red planet appeared, unknown to Earth records. Around it, dozens of ships sleeping in orbit like wolves around a dying moon. Nova pointed to the planet. They are waiting for orders. If they learn I'm alive. She didn't finish the sentence. Adrian stepped forward. Then we'll stop them before they move. Nova's voice dropped. I wasn't just a soldier, Adrian. I was their command node, the key to the fleet. That's why they broke my mind. That's why they abandoned me. They feared I would change. He stared at her. Did you? I don't know, she whispered. But I'm starting to hope I did. That night, Nova stood outside the lab looking up at the stars again. Her fingers closed into fists. She could feel the power building inside her, the power to destroy or protect. A shadow moved behind her. A drone, no, a figure. Human. Someone was watching them from the edge of the desert. She didn't speak. Didn't move. The figure slowly raised a device and vanished. Nova walked back inside. Adrian, she said calmly, we are not alone anymore. The secret in her blood, the desert wind carried dust across the morning sky. But inside Adrian's lab, the air was heavy with silence. Nova sat on the metal table, motionless, her eyes locked on the strange mark that had appeared on her arm overnight, an extra symbol glowing brighter than the rest. It hadn't been there before. It pulsed like a heartbeat. This isn't ink, Adrian said, scanning her arm. It's biological. Your skin. It's rewriting itself. Nova said nothing. Her expression was cold, distant, like she was listening to something only she could hear. Adrian checked the scans again. He had run them 4 times. Your DNA is mutating, he said quietly. Not randomly. Someone, or something, is sending a signal to your cells. Nova looked up. Then they know I'm alive. Later that day, Adrian dug out an old cryochip he had recovered years ago from a downed alien fighter. He had never been able to read it, until now. When Nova placed her hand on the chip, it activated instantly. Glowing symbols hovered in the air. The screen showed a name, Project Echo 13. Echo, Nova said softly. They called me that. A file opened. A voice spoke in a mechanical alien language. Nova translated in a whisper. Prototype hybrid. Forged from human and Valeri genetics. Accelerated development. Designed to command through emotion override. Encoded with threat detection instincts. She paused, her voice tightening. If emotional contamination is detected and terminate. Adrian's hands trembled. They built you to lead their army, but also to destroy you. If you changed. Nova nodded. They wanted me to command without feeling. He stared at her. But you're feeling now, aren't you? Nova looked away. I think that's why they broke me, because I started to feel too much. That night, Nova stood under the stars again, thinking. Her memories were coming back in flashes, some gentle, some violent. She saw a young human, child crying in a war camp. She had bent down to comfort him. Later, they punished her for that, erased part of her mind. They said she was corrupted. Nova clenched her fists. They fear what they can't control. The next morning, Adrian was gone. Nova found the lab door open, the sand blowing inside. No sign of a struggle, no broken glass, just silence. But she sensed something. Wrong. She walked outside, scanning the horizon. A sharp sting hit her neck. Dart, tranquilizer. She fell to one knee, vision blurring. Dark shapes moved toward her, humans wearing black suits with weapons glowing blue. A voice barked, "Contain the asset!" Nova tried to fight, but her body slowed. She collapsed and everything went black. She woke up in a white room. Cold, clinical, strapped to a metal chair. On the other side of the glass, a woman in a lab coat stared at her. Subject Nova, she said. Welcome back, I'm Dr. Nora Fields, Earth Defense Science Division. Nova didn't reply. Her wrists burned. The restraints were made of something that nullified her strength. Your creation is classified, Dr. Fields continued. We knew someone had stolen a hybrid embryo from the Valerie labs during the war. Now we know who they grew. Nova's voice was low. "Where is Adrian?" Dr. Fields smiled thinly. "He's alive. For now. Depends on how helpful you are." Nova closed her eyes. She reached deep inside herself. She could feel it again. The hum of energy in her veins, the encoded fire waiting to be released. The restraints trembled. Alarms sounded. Dr. Fields stepped back. "Increase suppression field. Now!" But it was too late. Nova's skin lit up. Her body lifted off the chair. The glass shattered outward. The lights exploded. She landed on the floor in front of them, eyes burning with a silver flame. "You want the weapon?" she said. "Then you'll face what it truly is." Guards ran toward her. They didn't reach her. Adrian woke up in a dark holding cell. His head ached. When the door burst open, he expected soldiers. But it was Nova. Her clothes were torn, her eyes dim, tired, but still glowing. "How?" he asked. She helped him up. "I stopped holding back." Together, they escaped the facility. Nova hacked the defense systems with a single touch. Cameras shut off. Doors opened. Within minutes, they vanished into the desert again, like ghosts. Back at the lab, Adrian finally spoke the words that had been building in him since the beginning. "Nova, you were made to lead their army, but you broke free." She nodded. "You feel, you protect, you chose us." She nodded again, but her voice was quiet. "I didn't just choose. I became something new." Adrian walked to his desk and picked up a small device. It had recorded her energy signature during the breakout. The readings were off the scale. "Nova, you didn't just escape. You evolved." She looked at her hands. "I'm not just a weapon anymore," she said. "I'm a warning." Far above Earth, in the shadows of deep space, a silent beacon activated. A fleet of ships turned toward Earth, and something ancient woke up inside one of them. A voice whispered, "Echo 13 has gone rogue." The betrayal. The desert was no longer safe. Nova stood at the edge of the rocky cliff near Adrian's hidden lab, her silver eyes locked on the horizon. Ever since the escape, she had stopped sleeping. She didn't need rest anymore, not since her evolution. Beneath her skin, something had changed. Her strength was growing, her thoughts sharper, her senses broader. She could hear footsteps from miles away, smell gunpowder from the wind, and feel satellite scans like prickles on her skin. She wasn't just part human and part alien anymore. She was becoming something else entirely. But inside, she was still haunted by one question. Why? Had they built her with emotions if they feared them? Inside the lab, Adrian worked in silence. His hands moved over old data cores, digging into the project that created Nova. He had one goal now: find the original architect of the hybrid program. Whoever they were, they might know how to stop the incoming fleet. They called it Project Final Echo, he muttered, but they never expected the Echo to speak back. Nova stepped into the room. "The fleet is moving, I can feel them. 3 days, maybe 4, until the first ship enters orbit." Adrian nodded. "We need allies." Nova frowned. "Humanity won't trust me." "They don't have to trust you," he said. "They just have to trust me." That night, someone arrived at the lab. He came through the dark like a memory, tall, strong, confident. A man Adrian hadn't seen in years. "Commander Wyatt Grant," Adrian said, standing up. "I thought you were dead." "Almost was," Wyatt replied. "But when I heard you were hiding out with a bioengineered alien weapon, I had to see for myself." Nova stepped forward, watching him carefully. Wyatt raised an eyebrow. "She's not what I expected." "She's not what anyone expected," Adrian said. "But she's the only one standing between Earth and extinction." Wyatt smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Then let's talk plans." The next day, the three of them worked together. Wyatt provided access codes to old military satellites. Nova scanned space for signs of movement. Adrian built signal jammers in case someone tried to trace them again. For the first time in weeks, things felt hopeful. But Nova never fully relaxed around Wyatt. His heart beat too slowly when he spoke. His pupils didn't react to light. The Way normal humans did. He's not what he seems, she whispered to Adrian. He saved my life in the war, Adrian replied, but I trust your instincts more than anyone now. That night, Nova couldn't sleep, so she walked alone through the canyon behind the lab. She felt something wrong. Her skin tingled. Her cymbals pulsed. She turned sharply and found Wyatt behind her. His eyes weren't human anymore. They shimmered with deep violet light. You felt it, didn't you? He said calmly. Your blood knows its kin. Nova's heart pounded. You're one of them. Not quite. I'm what you were meant to become. Pure control. No doubt. No weakness. Nova stepped back. Why are you here? To finish the protocol, he said. You were the last failure, but now you've grown too powerful, too human. And that's a risk they can't allow. Before she could move, he struck. A blast of energy hit her chest, throwing her back. She crashed into the canyon wall, stunned. The fleet doesn't need a broken commander, Wyatt said. They need a clean signal. He pressed a device to his wrist. A bright red beacon shot into the sky. Nova stood up, her face bloodied, her voice calm. Then tell them, she said, eyes beginning to glow, that their failure is coming for them. Back at the lab, Adrian saw the sky flash red. No. He grabbed his gun and ran into the canyon, just in time to see Nova and Wyatt locked in battle. Nova dodged, struck, but Wyatt matched her. They were mirrors, two living weapons, designed by the same cruel hands. You were the prototype, Wyatt hissed. But I was perfected, Nova growled. Then why do you fear me? With a roar, she unleashed a shockwave of energy, hurling Wyatt across the rocks. He vanished in the smoke. But the damage was done. The beacon stayed in the sky, pulsing. Hours later, Nova sat on the edge of the canyon, her body shaking. He was like me, she said quietly, but empty inside, like they drained his soul. Adrian sat beside her. They wanted soldiers, not people. But you broke their rules. You made your own. Nova looked at the sky. And now they're coming faster. Because I'm not just a threat, I'm proof. Proof of what? She looked at him. That their control can be broken. In the cold silence of space, the fleet shifted course. The lead ship, the dread carrier Valtorax, opened a sealed chamber. Inside was something ancient, something locked away for fear. It would turn on its own kind. Its eyes opened, and a voice echoed through the command halls. Prepare for full awakening. The traitor has remembered who she is. First contact again. The stars over Earth no longer looked peaceful. 3 alien warships had entered orbit within hours of the beacon activation. No weapons fired, no messages sent. They just waited. Silent giants in the sky, like watching gods, deciding the fate of mortals. Governments panicked. Militaries scrambled jets. News channels screamed alien return. Some called it invasion. Others called it the reckoning. But Nova knew what it really was, a test. And she was the subject. Adrian stood in his lab watching live footage from orbital drones. They're not attacking, he said. They're waiting for something. Nova stood behind him, her face unreadable. Her body had stopped glowing since the fight with Wyatt, but the energy inside her had only grown heavier, more focused. They're waiting for me to respond, she said. Adrian turned. Why? Are they afraid of you or still trying to control you? Nova didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked to the edge of the desert and looked up. No. They want to see what side I choose. The next day, Earth received a message, not on human channels. It came through Nova. Her body convulsed. Her mind was hijacked. Her voice changed. Low, mechanical, layered in multiple tongues. Echo 13. Final protocol re-engaged. Initiate recall. Adrian rushed to her side. Nova, don't listen. Her eyes flickered. She whispered, they're inside my mind. Then her skin lit up with strange runes, and a map formed on the ground, lines of starlight drawn in dust. It pointed to an isolated place in Antarctica. The coordinates pulsed like a heartbeat. Adrian knelt beside her. "What is it?" "A temple," she said faintly. "A relay. They built it long ago, hidden beneath the ice. It connects my kind to their source. They want me to come there, to remember everything." "It's a trap," Adrian said. "Maybe," Nova replied, standing. "Or maybe it's the key to ending this." 12 hours later, Nova stood on Antarctic ice, surrounded by wind and silence. Adrian had tried to come with her, but the alien signal blocked human electronics. She had to go alone. Beneath her boots, the ice cracked, then parted. A giant metal door rose from the snow, black, ancient, covered in glowing glyphs. As she stepped forward, it opened on its own. The past was waiting. The temple was buried deep underground, a cathedral of alien design filled with statues of tall, silver-skinned beings, her ancestors. Each one wore armor that hummed with power. In the center stood a glowing throne. She approached it slowly. Then a voice echoed through the chamber. Not a recording, a presence. "You have returned, child of war." Nova stood still. "You were built to lead, not to doubt. You carry our will, our blood, our legacy. Yet you walk among the humans like one of them." "They gave me something you never did," she said. "Weakness. Choice," she corrected. A figure stepped from the shadows. It wasn't just a hologram, it was real. Tall, armored, its face like hers but colder, sharper. Commander Kairos, the one who led the original hybrid program, the one who signed her creation order. He looked at her like a disappointed father. "You were the perfect design," Kairos said. "But then you hesitated, you cared, and now you threaten everything we built." Nova's voice was calm. "Then why didn't you kill me?" "Because a weapon destroyed is a message lost," Kairos said. "But a weapon returned becomes legend." He offered her a device, small, black, alive. "Take this," he said. "Signal the fleet, bring them to the temple, sit upon the throne, and all of it becomes yours again." Nova looked at it. She could feel it calling to her. Every atom of her body wanted to obey. But her soul, the part that wasn't built, the part that chose, stayed silent. Then she asked, "And if I refuse?" Kairos smiled coldly. "Then we take the planet without you." She took the device, held it, then crushed it in her hand. Energy exploded from her skin, cracking the floor. "I'm not yours," she said. "I never was." Kairos stepped back. "Then you are no longer one of us." Nova's voice sharpened. "I never was one of you." Outside, the temple shook. The skies over Antarctica darkened as the warships powered their weapons. Adrian, watching from a research post miles away, felt the ground quake. "Nova, what did you just do?" Inside the temple, Nova stood on the broken floor as alarms blared and Kairos vanished into teleport light. Her hand bled, silver-blue fluid dripping from her fingers. Her body had been designed to lead them. But now, she would lead against them. She stepped out of the temple and looked up. The sky was burning. The first shot had been fired. Not by humans, not by them, but by her. The last weapon, the world was holding its breath. Above the skies of Earth, the alien fleet grew larger. No more silence, no more waiting. This was no longer a cold war of stairs and shadows. This was the beginning of the end. People across the planet looked up and saw the impossible. Alien dreadnoughts blotting out stars. Civilians ran, prayed, screamed. Militaries locked cities, under martial law. Satellites burned in orbit. World leaders demanded answers. But there was only one answer worth hearing. Nova. The one who was never meant to survive. The one who was never meant to choose. And now, the one Earth would either follow or bury. Deep in the desert lab, Nova stood motionless as Adrian scanned the data pulled from her destroyed recall device. You shouldn't have done that, Adrian whispered. They'll come now. All of them. They were always going to come, Nova replied. I just made sure they saw me before they fired. She looked at him. Her voice was soft. They want Earth. But what they really want is me. Then we run, Adrian said. We hide? No, she said, calm but firm. We fight. Adrian slammed the tablet down. With what? We have no army, no weapons that match theirs. Nova turned, and her voice changed. Deeper, colder, not in tone, but in purpose. You have me. The next day, Nova revealed something even Adrian hadn't known. Beneath the lab, far beneath the ground, she had felt it pulsing for days. A signal, calling to her blood. They dug, under the stone and sand, buried beneath centuries of earth and war. They found it, a pod, alien, alive, a core weapon. It's a memory vault, Nova said, but also a catalyst. They built it for me. To complete me. Adrian stepped back. Complete? How? Nova placed her hand on the pod. The glyphs burned bright. Energy flooded her body. She gasped, dropped to her knees. Flashes filled her mind. She saw herself, not as she was, but as she had been designed to be, surrounded by generals, armies, planets burning under her command. Her voice, one word, could make fleets turn to ash. And then she saw a single moment, the moment she broke free. She had seen a child, human, crying in the rubble, and something in her rejected the command, the programming, the destiny. That moment created her, but now she saw the full picture. The core wasn't just a memory. It was a second brain, a living battle AI, forged in her image, buried to prevent rebellion. And now, she could choose to merge with it. Adrian's voice cracked. If you do this, you might lose what makes you, you. Nova looked up, her eyes already glowing with new fire. Or I might finally become who I'm meant to be. 3 hours later, she stood atop a high ridge, wind whipping through her white cloak, stars burning above. The fleet had begun its descent. She could feel the weapons charging. Orbital railguns, plasma arrays, gravity bombs that could break continents. But she could feel something else too. Fear. Not from Earth, from them. They feared the one who didn't follow. They feared her. They called me Echo, she whispered. But I'm not their Echo anymore. She raised both arms, and light exploded from her body. Across the desert, abandoned, alien tech buried by time came alive. Earth soil, once broken by war, revealed lost weapons from the first invasion. Nova's link to them was total. She didn't just awaken them, she commanded them. Adrian watched in awe as machines rose like titans from the sand, hovering turrets, shielding drones, anti-air platforms once thought useless. Nova had turned Earth into a fortress, not by force, but by will. That night, as the skies lit up with the first signs of fire, Adrian pulled her aside. What happens if we lose? He asked. Nova didn't answer at first. Then she said, if we lose, they rewrite Earth, strip it, enslave it, and they build another me. Adrian's voice broke. And if we win? Nova looked at the stars. Then the galaxy sees what happens when a weapon chooses to become a protector. The fleet launched its first strike at dawn, but this time, Earth was not alone. Nova stood in front of the first impact point. She raised her hands and stopped the blast in midair. It folded like paper, bent to her will. She didn't just shield the planet, she turned the weapon and fired it back. Aboard the lead ship, Commander Kairos watched the explosion ripple toward them. His eyes narrowed. Prepare the Doomsday Corps, he said. His second officer hesitated. But she's one of us. Kairos's voice went cold. She's not one of us. Not anymore. He looked out the window. She's our last mistake. Humanity's hero, the sky above Earth, was no longer a canvas of stars. It was a battlefield. Alien warships lit the atmosphere with fire and steel. Missiles streaked like comets. Plasma storms rained from orbit. Cities trembled beneath energy quakes. From New York to Tokyo, the world braced for extinction. But the end had not come. Because Nova stood between Earth and oblivion, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as something greater. Inside the command ship Valtorax, Commander Kiros watched her from orbit, his cold hands gripping the edge of the war table. "She's fused with the core," his officer reported. "She's beyond classification now." "She's beyond control," Kiros snapped. His voice echoed through the war chamber. "Bring the Doomsday Core online. No more shadows, no more patience, we erase the planet." On the surface, Nova moved like lightning across the battlefield. Shielded by awakened alien tech, she intercepted every major strike, redirecting orbital attacks into safe zones. Drones followed her command like extensions of her will. Earth's forces, once scattered and weak, now rallied around her. Human soldiers, once afraid to even look at her, now called her by name. "Nova's here." "Follow her lead!" She just stopped an orbital railgun with her hands. And still she did not rest. Her mind moved across 10 frequencies. Her body existed in 2 spectrums. She had become the signal and the firewall, but she hadn't forgotten who she was fighting for, or what she might have to give up. In the heart of the lab, Adrian coordinated with global defenses. Military leaders sent him live intel. Commanders took orders from him because he was the only one Nova still trusted fully. He watched her on a cracked monitor, moving like a star reborn. But her energy levels were dropping. The merge had limits, and the enemy knew it. In orbit, Kairos gave the final order: deploy the Doomsday Core. From the belly of the ship, a dark sphere descended. Not a weapon, but a world killer. The Anomaly Core, older than the fleet, built to reset planets. It erased everything: biology, metal, atmosphere, in a wave of anti-energy. Nova felt its presence before it even entered the sky. She collapsed to her knees. Adrian's voice came through the comm. "What is it?" Her voice shook. "Not a weapon. A god. They're sending the thing that kills civilizations. Then we stop it," Adrian said. Nova's eyes flickered. "Not we. Me." She rose, gathered what energy she had left, and flew. Not with wings, not with fuel, but with sheer force of will. As she rose into the sky, breaking through the clouds, the people of Earth saw her, shining, rising like a second sun. Children whispered her name. Soldiers paused just to watch, and across every screen, every radio, every frequency, Nova broadcast just one message: "I was made to destroy. I choose to protect." In orbit, she collided with the Anomaly Core mid-descent. The impact shattered clouds and atmosphere alike. Energy erupted in a ring around the planet. Kairos watched from the command ship, eyes wide. That shouldn't be possible. Nova screamed, channeling the last of the core's memory system. Every code, every backup, every override she could pull. But the Anomaly Core began to pulse. She saw its truth: a black hole in a cage. If it hit the surface, nothing would survive. Not even her. She turned toward Earth. She didn't cry. She simply whispered, "You gave me a reason." Then she flew upward, dragging the Anomaly Core away from the planet into deep space. And then she vanished. Bright star in the darkness, then silence. On Earth, the sky cleared. The warships paused, confused, lost. Their signal was gone. The source of their control, Nova, had severed the connection. Adrian stood in the center of his lab, surrounded by cheers, tears, confusion. He didn't say anything, until a young soldier asked, "What do we do now, sir?" He replied slowly, "We build a future she would have wanted." Weeks passed. The alien fleet, now leaderless, retreated. Some ships self-destructed, others powered down entirely, like beasts whose master had fallen. Nations rebuilt. Humans came together for once, not because of fear, but because of her. They called her many things: savior, alien queen, guardian of Earth. But Adrian knew the truth. She wasn't born to be a hero. She chose it. Months later, deep in space on a lonely moon, a figure emerged from the wreckage of the anomaly core, half alive, half energy. Nova opened her eyes. A spark still burned in her chest. Not vengeance, not war, but life. She looked toward the stars and smiled. She was no longer their weapon. No longer, just humanity's shield. She was the first of something new.